Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic. Get your questions fired up and let's have a great conversation this morning. And we do Decklist review, of course. If you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, you got a spicy brew you want to share with all of us, both you better believe that you can submit it, and both myself and the community would love to give some feedback on it. So brew up your cups of coffee and let's brew up some magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for April 27th, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Alfred, Steven, James, Samuel, Taro, D-Tie Gaming, MTG Box, Galactic Center Core, Jen Low, Scrub and Scrubs, James, Frederick, Massimo, Steve, Andrew, Rebecca, Mace Win Don't, Fraser, Donald, Aaron, Matthew, Carlos, Frank, Torborg, Ethan. Good morning, everyone. Excellent. I thought I saw some comment about my hair. You're right. Nikachu, get that hair in point. Where is it? Where's that damn comment? There we go. James is right. James knows what's going on. My hair, when it's dirty, it just looks so dirty. I look homeless, basically. Like I can't go on the air without washing my hair, or I have done in the past. But like, you know, I have standards, people. I have standards. I'm on video all the time. You see me. All right, so looks like people are already getting on with the questions. So let's start it this morning. We've got Andrew. Or by the way, everyone, if you want to be part of the show, you might already know if you've been here every morning, but 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the comments. Or you can cheat the system with super chats on YouTube. Donate with the super chat, pushes your question to the top of my feed. There is a story behind the rabbits, or is Nikachu just a furry? Very interesting hypothesis, or I should say gossip. I can understand where that's coming from. There's no big origin story behind the rabbit. The origin story, hold on, let's see if this still shows up on Google. A little bit does. All right, so only one. When does Nikachu Poker show up? So back in my poker days, yeah, it only has one. So anyway, we've got, let's see, open in a new tab. That's sad. This is the only one. The point is, I used to play poker a long time ago, and people would share their graphs every month, how much they won and lost. And you know, I wasn't, when I started, and you can see it in this video, in this graph, like I made like $180 this month. It was nothing compared to the people who are posting wins of like 250,000 or $500,000 and stuff like that. So to stand out, because you know I like attention, I started drawing these little cartoons on my graph, and they all involve bunnies, and it was super popular. They're very, very popular, but this is the only one that I can Google. I made tons. I made a lot of these bunny graphs, but anyway, that's the story behind the bunnies, and it just translated to magic. Translated magic. All right, what else do we got here? Okay, James asks, Modern Horizons 2 needs counterspell. I pulled a Japanese alt art Strixhaven Mystic Archive foil, and it's so beautiful. I want to run in Modern Merfolk. I would too. It's a beautiful counterspell. Can we find that? Strixhaven. I can just look up counterspell here. Google is powerful, but I love it. I love this. I love all the Japanese art cards. They're wonderful. I should probably pick up. I'm a little conflicted. I want to stay true to my Mercadian Mask counterspell, but it's hard to do because that other one looks so good. Because this is an actual merfolk on the image. Pledge allegiance to the Japanese or the merfolk? Oh, I'm split. I'm really divided on that one. Dkatai Gaming, what are your thoughts on completive tabletop / main events play at this point, such as SCG GPs? Are they going to be the same as before? Maybe not in the beginning, but eventually it will get to that point where they'll be the same as before. I have no idea what they're going to look like early on. They might have like a maximum capacity to some sort. You might even need to get a pass before you can even enter the building, so that they, you know, there's not like the density of the people isn't too large. But I mean, in the long run, yeah, the world will go back to normal in the long run. I don't know when that long run is though. Best website for deck lists? You mean submitting deck lists? I don't know what. I think Moxfield might be my favorite for people submitting deck lists. Moxfield and MTG Goldfish. And there's a lot of them that are actually okay. They're all good. It's just Deck Stats is just the worst one. Torborg, the new tiles in the background are super slick. I didn't notice those last time I tuned in, but it looks good. Yes, I think they look sweet. And so now I've learned a new technique. I can have one of these flat, like changing colors, because I have two of them. I could have one of them flashing colors and the other one a stationary color, and then I have even more control over, you know, how pink or blue or green I want the background to be, while still, like, you know, changing tone at the same time. Crack asks, Andrew, what has happened for 8-rack to be relevant again? What? Who's Andrew? What has happened for 8-rack to become relevant again? What does 8-rack need? Probably it probably needs the format to slow down by a lot. This deck doesn't do so well against decks that are like blazing fast or can play cards off the top of their deck, like Swift Spears and stuff like that. So I think that's probably a very big problem for the deck. It needs the format to slow down. There might be other part. I don't know exactly what the weaknesses of the 8-rack are on the 8-rack side, but we getting Tom Ross on Friday showing up, and actually he's played 8-rack before. He's top 8. He's top 8'd. You know, he top 8'd a few events. You know, some big open events with 8-rack. So maybe you can ask him when he shows up on Friday. Tontoro, how is your old friend Smuggler's Copter doing? Terrible. Smuggler's Copter is just doing brutal. Too slow. Can't block either. Mauricio, hey, Merfolk Master, do we have a poll to see how many Modern Horizons 2 will be banned? Oh, I have no idea. And you know, it may not necessarily be Modern Horizon cards that get banned. It could be other cards that we've already played with for a long time. They get banned, you know. Okay, so Hogak got banned, but then there's other cards that got banned. We saw Mox Opal got banned, Faithless Looting got banned, Simeon's Spirit Guide got banned. I'd be more fearful for cards that exist right now than for the cards that they print in Modern Horizons. Just throwing that out there, people. You know, a lot of people think a lot of cards are going to get banned from Modern Horizons 2. Way more likely that they ban cards that we already play with, and that the Modern Horizons 2 cards they're gonna stand. That's how I see it. Ben, haven't been able to join in a while due to the fact that I have returned to in-person school. Oh, that sucks. But I wanted to pop in to say love the channel. Thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate it. Stay safe in school. I heard it's rough out there. Do you have a prediction as to the price each fetch land will be after Modern Horizons 2 reprint? Personally looking into Scalding Tarn and Misty Rainforest. What really sucks is that they went up since the COVID checks went out. I mean, I'm going to guess like a 10 to 15% drop. But but what sucks is that the prices, I think, already went up. Like, this is just, I mean, it's a good guess. But the problem is if you bought them like here at $63, you might have already got like now you're sort of hoping that the price goes back down to $63. You know, it's around 77, 73. Now you're hoping that it goes back down with the reprint. Seems like it might have been the best time to buy in, might have been right before. I mean, it'll go down. But I got this question again before, and I knew it was going to be a matter of like, it will go down when it gets printed, but will it go down enough from the forces of the COVID money, the stimmy checks, people buying them. Oops. Thiago, thoughts on Blue Black Delver? Unplayable, in my opinion. Delver needs a lot of help. But you know what actually is showing some promise? Grixis Delver with Sprite Dragon. And the point is, Sprite Dragon is that extra creature that does enough damage in order to close out games. I don't know if Blue Black Delver has enough power in itself. And also, Sprite Dragon is just a fantastic win condition. Panfry, do you think Veil of Summer will get hit with a ban? I'm a control player, but I love Veil because mono blue tempo can F off. You know what? I am not as confident about Veil of Summer getting banned. I think a lot of people hated this card. I think it is within the power level of this format. I just genuinely do. I think it is within the power level of Modern. It's not even good right now because like the things you have to be worried about aren't counter spells or like black spells. It's mostly like red removal and red aggro stuff or Tron mana or big mana. It's like big mana or red, you know? I think those are the things you have to worry about. And Heliod Company. So like Veil of Summer is like virtually unplayable at the moment. Not unplayable, but you know what I mean. Like it's not like the best sideboard card right now. So anyway, I think it's within the power level of format. Could it get banned one day? Maybe, but like I don't think it's a ban-worthy card. That's a very controversial topic. Or it's not, sorry, that's my hot take. A lot of people say Veil of Summer is busted, it's broken, it's the most hateful hate card ever. It's a 1-mana cryptic command. I'm on the side. Modern can suck this card up, and so far it's done fine. Mikey J, why is the Ice Age counterspell art the best version? Oh god, no, we are not going down the where's the Ice Age one? I think the Ice Age one. Well, I'm not gonna make any judgments, people. You know, if you like the Ice Age one, that's totally fine. My heart. I mean, like, I'm not thrilled with this art, but I'm not thrilled with a lot of these arts. This one, I know people who love this one. I think this one's just god awful. There's probably something nostalgic about some of these arts. Like, if you started the game with this art, you're probably more connected to this one. I mean, hey, maybe that's why I like this art the most. Not even that it's merfolk. Like, this is just one of the first. Yeah, this was the first counterspell I played with because I started playing around this time. I actually think this one is great. This thing is amazing. This is a great art. This particular card is $141, but there is a non-foil version. Where's the non-foil version? I like this art too. Oh, was it earlier? Here. No, this is there is a non-foil version of this. There it is. Boom. Anyway, I'm a fan of this art as well. But really, Mikey J, you should be telling us why you think the Ice Age version is the best. Thomas, Mono Blue Pioneer needs a Merfolk Lord. Would you rather a 2-mana give your Merfolk +1/+1 or a 3-mana give your Merfolk +1/+1 with an ability? What ability? I would prefer probably a 3/1. I just prefer Reejerey. Just give me Reejerey, just like we have in Pioneer. Like, I feel like not Pioneer, Historic. I feel like the Historic deck, it feels like a deck. But the fact that we don't have good evasion in Pioneer makes things that much more difficult. So I'd like maybe I would even take Merfolk Sovereign, that you can tap it and give something unblockable, but ideally Reejerey would be the best. Would you be down to review a Pauper Merfolk combo list? Yes, so long as you explain the combo. We take everything but limited and Commander. No Commander stuff. Thoughts on Damnation in the current meta? It's probably okay if you can, like, so long as your opponent doesn't know about it. I think if your opponent knows about Damnation, they'll play differently. So if it's like a surprise to your opponent, like if you're playing Supreme Verdict is not so strong if you already know that Supreme Verdict is coming up. But if you're a deck playing black and you just randomly throw out a Damnation, like even in a Golgari Yawgmoth deck, that could be a beating. You know, they're playing their Undying creatures. you're playing your creatures to compete, and then they play Damnation and blow the board up, but you get your creatures back, that'd be a huge beating. So I think the element of surprise is very important for that one. Trunic, can game stores change the pre-order price of Modern Horizons if they see the spoilers for it, or is it a static price? I know MSRP doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, so they're going to price it whatever they want. So spoilers or not, they're probably just going to go with whatever price the market is going with. What do you think black, white, green with Toski tokens needs to be competitive? It needs better... why is it black, white? Why isn't it like just Selesnya? But black does give you some options. I don't know. Does any tokens players out there? I used to know the answer. I'm just like a little foggy on like what tokens needs to do in general. Like, okay, first off, Toski is a bit of a win more card. Maybe not. Maybe it's still good value. It's going to grind people out. But just going to remind everyone that we're not in a metagame about grinding people out very much. It's very tempo oriented. Someone has a plan of like killing you, and you want to kill them before they do that, or you need to stabilize the board in some way. So if you want like value, drawing a bunch of cards with your tokens, you might just die the next turn when your opponent just goes in the air with a giant Sprite Dragon, or combos off with Heliod Company, or goes Teamer Battle Rage with Death Shadow, or locks you out with Karn the Great Creator or something. You know, there's so many different ways. Yeah, but Lingering Souls isn't even that great. So when I talked to the tokens master about tokens, he said the most important thing is that every token generator, you need to be spending every mana that you spend, because the tempo matters a lot. Every mana that you spend has to create at least one token. So Lingering Souls, the front half, is 3 mana for 2 tokens. He says that's not good value. That was not good value. Oh, so it's basically Selesnya, but with like a light splash. If the black splash is only for Lingering Souls, take it out. Have a more consistent deck. Just gonna get you ripped out by Blood Moon for no reason. Just trying to get back to where I was. Okay, I'm back. How are you finding Strixhaven in Standard? Honestly, I don't pay attention to Standard, so I can't comment on it. And if anyone plays Standard, help Dane in the comments section. Jake, what do you think about Sudden Shock as a sleeper sideboard card versus Heliod and Prowess? I think that's a fine... I think actually that's a good idea. That's not bad. It's still not the greatest. I mean, I think it's better against Prowess than it is against Heliod, because any removal spell interacts with the Heliod deck for the most part. The problem with Heliod is that, okay, you kill Spike Feeder. All right, then they play Walking Ballista, and they force you to have a removal spell for every threat, because they have Heliod out. You can't interact with that one. So once they have Heliod out, they just keep jamming combo pieces until they exhaust you of removal. So anyway, Sudden Shock, actually a pretty good idea. Sudden Shock deals 2 damage to any target. As long as this spell is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. I think that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, make sure... Well, you guys make sure you guys ask about 8-Rack. Mikey J, I recently bought a new brand of coffee and I hate it. Should I just bail on it now or finish what's left? If you ask me, I bail on it. I really... First off, if I were to try a new brand of coffee, I would buy the smallest jar possible so that I have some sense of what it's like. If it's really bad, I would not drink it. I'm a person who because it will just ruin your morning for like a month. Basically, you have to give it away or something. You can't drink that stuff. You get something that you know you like. I can't stand stuff like that. I can't stand situations like that. You know, I don't want to be... And I hate it when I'm suggesting, oh, why don't you try this brand of clothes? Because if I don't like it, then I'm punished for it for forever. You know, whether it be socks or underwear or something like that. So I need to know... I only like to buy stuff that I know is going to be... If it's long-term, I need to know that it's going to be good. I don't like to experiment. It's a big no-no as me. Mace Win. As a content creator, have you noticed a huge spike in modern interest? Seems like the modern staples have blown up in price. I wouldn't say spike, but I definitely feel like people are coming back. People are getting interested in modern again. Their interest is going back to Magic the Gathering. People are prioritizing a little bit more. David, how much more will a Modern Horizons 2 draft box on release day versus Modern Horizons 1 box release day? I'm hearing that it's going to be prohibitively expensive. It's possible. But that's something I don't know, because the market is just going to determine what that is. Someone's going to take a guess with a price, and maybe someone's going to put a higher price, and then it's going to settle somewhere. I honestly don't know how they determine these things without MSRP. I'm guessing someone's going to throw maybe like $200. If someone buys it, someone's going to try $250. If someone buys it, they're going to throw out $300. No one buys it. All right, $250. Then they buy it, and then maybe that's the price. But I really don't know. Modern Horizons 2 over $250 a box. Look at Time Spiral Remastered. Yeah, so I think the market's going to have a huge say in how expensive these stupid things are. Do you think Lorehold's theme could bring a Boros graveyard deck into Modern? Oh, yeah, like, no one's... Is this the dragon? Yeah, this is the dragon. No one made a combo deck out of this yet. This is like one of these creatures that might be part of a giant combo, but it did not materialize at the moment. I don't know about a graveyard-based deck. I don't even know if it would be Boros. Honestly, I think it would just be... Who knows what the colors will be, but it will have this card in it. Why would it... Oh, you mean this would go in the graveyard? Well, there's more than one way to get a Lorehold out. So, I mean, it's possible. But I don't... If it's a graveyard deck, I don't think it would be Boros. MTG box. Is Prismari Command playable in Modern, and should I buy now? How much does it cost? I think it's a Modern playable card, but I don't know if every deck can play this. Oh, it's $2? Well, I'm just going to say it's a Modern playable card. I don't know if it's just going to be a super popular card. I think this is the type of card that will be perfect in the right combo deck when they can find the right shell for it. I mean, this is a combo card. Destroy target artifact, destroy your Grafdigger's Cage, your Relic of Progenitus, your, like, you know, whatever's stopping my combo, your Damping Sphere. So this is really good on a combo enabler, and then you can deal 2 damage to a creature, you know, slow the game down, get your combo off, or you can draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, or create a treasure token to ramp into the mana that you need for your combo. $2.50 sounds pretty cheap. I don't mind buying cards this low, because if it goes to $2, it goes to even $1.50, like whatever, the loss isn't very large. But if it becomes a $10 card for some reason, that's a big loss. Your loss is very minimal when cheap cards go down. And, you know, you could hold on to the card for like 5 years, and it probably will go back to where it was or higher. Like I said, it's just waiting for the right deck. Massimo, what do you think about Secret Lair Shocklands? For once seems worthy. I mean, that's up to all of you. I mean, I don't want to say what is good or what is bad value based on these Shocklands. I'm hearing a lot of positive things about the Shockland Secret Lair, so maybe, well, I don't know. It's because there's, for some people, you're saying like for once seems worthy, but for a lot of people, the Secret Lairs have all been worthy. So it depends on your perspective. Is Days too strong for Modern? No. Some people say it is. I think they're ridiculous. It's not too strong at all. It is free, but it's reactive, and it is really bad when it's bad. Like, it is a stone dead card if you know about it. It is just stone dead. It is so Days is so bad when it's bad. If there is anything to give Delver a chance, a fighting chance in Modern, it's Days. You think they'll ban anything from the Blitz deck? Manamorphose is on the chopping block, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on Manamorphose, even though nobody's talking about it right now. I mean, that might be the next thing. I'm not going to say it's close or anything like that, but I mean, if the Blitz deck just keeps going on, doing its thing for forever, because I don't see them banning Swift Spear or anything like that. So the most freest of wins come from Manamorphose, just chaining tons of spells in one turn. Please invite Spider Space again. Yeah, sure, we could do that. Just get Spider Space is up for it. Get him to contact me. We can absolutely have him on the show again. Daniel, based on your opinion that Veil is fair and modern, do you think Astrolabe warranted a ban? P.S. I second that the Ice Age counterspell art. Yeah, I think Astrolabe should get banned. It's a 1-mana artifact. There are ways of blinking this thing. It fixes mana a little too well. It was not... At the time between Astrolabe and Uro, it is clear that Uro was the card that they needed to ban, not Astrolabe. But we can see with like Emery and Urza that Astrolabe is just a little too efficient for those decks. And that you take the Astrolabe away, Urza not so powerful anymore. Urza just doesn't even see play right now. What card did you like to have to your Modern Merfolk deck that could be printed in Modern Horizons 2? True Name Nemesis. They will not give it to me, but that's what I want. Callous Blood Mage viable or not enough value? I don't even know what this is. Is a vampire. Oh yeah, there's some vampires in Strixhaven. ETB, choose one. Create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token. With when it dies, you gain a life. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. That's not too bad. Exile target player's graveyard. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of cards on this card. Sorry, there's a lot of words on this card. The first ability sucks, but the other ones are pretty good. Drawing a card, yeah, having the option to just draw a card or exile the opponent's graveyard. 1 toughness at 3 mana, though. That sort of sucks, but I mean, it is a vampire. I like it, the card. I like the card. I think it's enough value. I'd just be concerned it's not strong enough, like in terms of like mana versus power or beatdown. But it's I think I think it's a good card. It's a good card. Waffle Lawful. First off, lovely name. Love it. Crop rotation is broken and you don't know it. Well, okay then. Oh, we have crop rotation in the format. Look, this is crop rotation. And sure, it's a good card. Not bad. It's not play. Of course, it's easier to interact with this crop rotation, but it's a repeated crop rotation. It's a crop rotation every other turn. And on top of that, it becomes a reasonable beat stick. So as far as I'm concerned, we have crop rotation in the format. It's crop rotation on a creature. Anyway, I think crop rotation is I think it's reasonable. Maybe I'm wrong because it's an instant, right? So is Elvish Reclaimer after the first turn. Maybe if crop rotation was sorcery, it would be more reasonable than it is right now. Oh, it comes into play tap. That is a big deal. Yeah, this thing comes into play. This is a fixed crop rotation. Okay, I like that response. I can agree with that. Crop shouldn't be anywhere near modern. I'm willing to die on this hill until proven wrong. If they print in Modern Horizons 2 and it doesn't do much. Crop rot will buff Tron even more. Well, here we can have a discussion about this. This is a great discussion about Tron. Let's get Urza's Tower here. I think Tron is as consistent as it can get right now. Like giving crop rotation to Tron is like giving thrilling possibility to Dredge. Like, you're gonna make the game plan consistent, but I think what would make Tron better is when you print cards like Karn the Great Creator. Like, these are the cards that push Tron. Like, I think getting to Tron mana is very, very consistent. Like, it's ridiculously consistent at this point. You can just basically expect the player to have turn 3 Tron. They mulligan to it all the time. So it's the win conditions that have been pushing, like legitimately pushing the win percentage of Tron between Karn the Great Creator and like they got Walking Ballista. That was a great addition to Tron. So, wait, maybe they print crop just to have an excuse to ban Tron. I'm up for that. All right, so some people they're willing to make that exchange. I don't think they'll ban Tron though. Tron will be just around for forever. What else? Oh, Ulamog was a huge upgrade. Huge. This is a big upgrade. Like, these are cards that help Tron. Like, when they get printed. I don't think getting Tron online by turn 3 even matters anymore. Because they have it all the time. They can mulligan for it if they want to. Yeah, a hand of Tron, land, map, forest, crop leads to turn 3 Tron. But like my point is that they get turn 3 Tron so consistently right now. We're heading for diminishing returns. You can just assume they're going to have Tron. Yeah. This is where I'd be with the Tron debate. They got to ban something from Heliod? They probably will. So like, so if anyone is new to the channel or you haven't been around for a few years, it goes in a stage like this. The deck needs to be proven to be good. That's stage 1. Stage 2, everyone needs to now be playing this deck. That you're playing it 2-3 times a league. Because once that happens, now people are like, okay, this is stupid. I'm losing to this dumb 2-card combo constantly. It's boiling people's blood. Stage 3. They complain about it on social media. Ban the card! Ban the card! Ban! Where are cards banned? Heliod's ruining the format. Stage 3 is where cards get banned. It needs to get to Wizards of the Coast attention. And it will get there. If it legitimately needs a ban, it will get there. We're just heading into stage 2 right now. Like, there was enough data on the deck that it was doing really well. Now people are starting to pick it up and play it. And when there is enough people playing the dumbest deck in the format, that's when people start voicing their concerns on social media and something actually happens. And we could talk about this for a little bit. I mean, there's 3 good candidates for being banned. First one is Spike Feeder. Just a heads up, I think Spike Feeder might be the safest ban for them, because Spike Feeder does a few things. First off, Spike Feeder into Heliod off of Collected Company is a really annoying instant win. By banning Spike Feeder, you don't have to ban Heliod Suncrowned. Also, this is the only deck playing Spike Feeder. So if they ban Spike Feeder from this deck, they don't harm any other decks. So if I were to take a really good guess what they're going to ban, they might just be upfront about it and say, we're banning Spike Feeder because this is the only way we can weaken the combo, which is really hard to interact with while not hurting any other archetypes. Then there's Heliod. Heliod probably is just the most genuine thing you should ban. A good question, does anyone know if there's a replacement for Spike Feeder out there where you can just easily activate and gain life? I think Spike Feeder is a very unique card, but maybe not. But Heliod probably is the most just ban. This card is very hard to interact with. I mean, everyone's saying, oh, just play Diacide. I mean, the card sucks. It's like not a card you want in your sideboard at all. It's just wasting space. So Heliod probably is the most just ban out of all of them, but they're not going to ban it because it's sort of a new card. I mean, it's new by a year. I think they would keep Heliod around and just say, you know what, Spike Feeder has had its day in the sun. It's historically been relevant to these sort of creature combo decks. It's time for Heliod to shine. But the fact that it's indestructible and cannot be targeted by exile removal when it's not a creature makes it just almost insanely difficult to interact with as a combo piece. Now, a lot of the fish fam here might be most interested in Walking Ballista getting banned, and I most certainly would love Walking Ballista being the one that is on the chopping block and gets banned. I very much doubt that it's Walking Ballista that they'll ban, though. You need to activate Heliod to give Ballista lifelink, because Ballista doesn't have lifelink. So there is one more step that you have to take. But Ballista, like, you can't Court of Calling for Ballista. You can't Coco into Ballista. So it takes a lot of the combos out. This is a much harder combo to pull off. You need to play Ballista on 2. It needs to be 2 counters on this thing. So you got to pay 4 mana. Then you got to give it lifelink with Heliod Suncrown. So if you take out Spike Feeder, the combo is a lot more. It's just harder and more vulnerable to pull off. Very hard, much harder to pull off. I would love to see Walking Ballista get banned, but this is a harder. The deck would be a lot harder to play if they ban Spike Feeder first instead. Yeah, they just got Vanishing Verse. That is a good one. Maybe it's the decks I play, but Heliod doesn't seem that powerful to me. Well, for most decks may not be able to be, like, for example, as a Merfolk player, it really sucks because I can't race this combo that can be pulled off turn 3, and if not turn 3, but definitely by turn 4. And second off, I don't have nearly enough interaction for it. Like, it's just activated abilities. And if let's say you bring in, as I have done, let's say Pithing Needle, you name Spike Feeder. Okay, then they play the other combo. So it's a very awkward combo to beat. And they can still just beat your ass with creatures, because whenever you gain life, you can put counters on your creatures, so your creatures can grow amazingly. Especially with Auriok Champion. I mean, you think about it, Auriok Champion is just like Metallic Mimic at this point. You gain life whenever a creature enters the battlefield. You get a counter, because whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life, and then Heliod will make a counter. So it's like a super Metallic Mimic in that way. No, it's even worse. It's a super Deep Root Elite, right? F Heliod. So it's like a super Deep Root Elite. Whenever a Merfolk enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target Merfolk you control. So anyway, it's a pretty strong effect. A ban on Ballista will piss off a lot of G and E-Tron players, and you'll see a shift to Bluetron. No, they won't go anywhere. They'll stick to E-Tron. They just won't have Ballista, that's all. Well, what's the tons of ways to interact with it and stop it? You know, what are these tons of ways? People like to name, oh, there's Diacide. Oh, there's like Vanishing Verse. Oh, is that it? And how many of those cards are you playing in your cyber? Are you playing 4 Diacide? Like, when it comes to like a dredge deck, you need like 4 to 6 graveyard hate cards. So how many of these super narrow cards do you want to have in your deck? I mean, the Vanishing Verse is fine, but how many Orzov decks are there that can play it? Fact of the matter is, there aren't a ton of ways to interact with it. There's actually very few ways to interact with it. Most decks don't have the tools to deal with this deck, and that's why it's a problem. And like I said, there are some generic answers like Pithing Needle, but then they go for the other combo. You can't name both of them. Yeah, just use Diacide. It's that easy. Just play this card that has no other purpose except to kill Heliod and nothing else. As easy as that. A lot of the better cards are 2 colors, like Unmoored Ego or Vanishing Verse, which are 2 colors that are not very popular in Modern, in my opinion. Ooh, greetings from Chile. Thank you very much, Jan. All right, great conversation, though. Let's go back to some of the questions. I know there's some back here. Adam asks, I feel like Baleful Mastery is a really underrated addition to Black's removal tools. What are your thoughts? Am I just goofing here? Baleful Mastery. I have a feeling this card costs a lot of mana. Oh, yeah. Oh, but it has maybe some alternate casting costs. You may pay a black and a generic rather than pay this spell's mana cost. If the black and when generic cost was paid, an opponent draws a card. Exile target creature or planeswalker. I think okay, well, the deal is that well, Well, first off, most decks like Jund or attrition-based decks, they don't want to give you value. Like, they don't want to give you anything. They're not trying to tempo you out. They're trying to grind you out completely. And 2 mana is expensive still. It's still very expensive. Like, we're in a format where people want to be playing Fatal Push. You know, like, these are the de facto These are the de facto, like, removal spells. Fatal Push. Then there's, like, Blood Chief's Thirst. 1 mana. Lightning Bolt. The reason that these are the removal spells of the format is because they're 1 mana. 2 mana and giving your opponent value. A little too much. What else? There's On Thin Ice. This is gaining some speed. It's the new Path to Exile. So anyway, that's the problem with that card. It's like 2 mana already sort of sucks. And exiling is good, but giving the opponent a card is not good. Nicholas asks, do you think Death and Taxes in Modern should be mono white, Orzov, green white, or blue white? What is the best version in your opinion? I think the best version is mono white. Occasionally, red white is actually a viable variation. I've seen red white for Magus of the Moon. So the only other time that I've seen another Taxes deck be viable is when they use Magus of the Moon. They might have had Seasoned Pyromancer in there. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe not. But when they really need to tax your mana base, Magus of the Moon will be there. So anyway, that's one of the variations you did not mention. I think that is the most competitive variation that I've seen, because I've actually seen that deck make top 8s of very big events. It's been there. It's done that. Chris Ross asks, wait a second, I just got your versus Ponza stream as a notification. Did you post that while streaming live? That's true skill right there. Well, I've got some, I have a lot of videos that are automated. But why is it doing it now? It should have been at 6 o'clock in the morning. That was like 3.5 hours from now, or like in the past. So, I mean, like when a lot of these videos, I have it all automated, so I don't have to, I used to not automate it. Like, I would actually publish it personally in the morning, but I don't do that anymore. Do you think Death and Taxes should play On Thin Ice instead of Path? Great question. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. They might not have enough planes because they use a lot of non-basic lands between Horizon Lands, Ghost Quarter, and Field of Ruin, so they may not be the best On Thin Ice deck, but maybe they need to play test it. Because like Field of Ruin is still effectively a plains, but it's like a plains on turn 4. Or turn 3, I guess. Yeah, they could Field of Ruin on turn 3, get the plains, get the snow-covered plains, and play On Thin Ice. So it's possible. Oh, wow. Probably because in Germany it took longer. I tell you what it is. The thing got published, but YouTube doesn't always notify you immediately. I think YouTube tries to notify you when YouTube knows that it has your attention. That's what it is. So it was published. YouTube does actually, I mean, if you want some insider knowledge on how YouTube works, YouTube will first release the video to a certain number of subscribers, and then if they're watching the video, they like it, then they push it to more of the subscribers that you have. So you might not have been the first wave of subscribers that they push it to. Maybe it's because you're in Germany, but I don't think so, because you're awake at that time. I don't know. That's why if you're subscribed and you have the bell notification on, it sometimes doesn't mean shit, because YouTube will first do a sample, push new videos out to a sample of people in the subscription base that have notification. And if they click on the video and they watch it, then they'll spread it out to more people who have the subscription and notification. So if you don't get a notification, it's probably because the video wasn't that appealing to everybody else who is subscribed. Anyway. You know what time it is, everyone? Do you know what time it is? time for Decklist review. All right, so if you got a 75, you want some feedback on, now is the time to do it. Go into my description. In the description, there is a link to my Discord. In my Discord, there is a channel called Decklist Review. Go to Decklist Review and then enter the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list. Lord Magicus might help you with that. If you have any problems, he's a good moderator. And boom, you'll be eligible at random for Decklist review. So as people are submitting their deck lists, we are going to thank our sponsors, Fusion Gaming Online, Battle Styles. I don't know anything about it. But the deal of the week at Fusion Gaming Online, Canadian local game store, Canadian prices, but they love giving deals every week. And this week you can save 15% off all Commander Legends. So you Commander play, you know who you are out there. I know there's a few Commander players out in this chat. Don't be lying. If you need some Commander cards, you can get at fusiongamingonline.com. But don't forget, use coupon code Nikachu. 5% off all your purchases, even if you're already getting a deal. Like 15% off Commander Legends. Is this Commander Legends singles and sealed product? I think it's everything Commander Legends. You can get that. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Our Lord and Savior. They saved me. I'm a new Merfolk player. I'm now playing Azorius. They led me in the right way. I can borrow an unlimited number of cards back and forth to find the right build for my deck, the right cards, through Mana Traders. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can save 15% off your first 2 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Why buy cards and spend money trying to experiment when you can just rent them infinitely? iBoombox says, oh, that's me. Oh, where's my review? There we go. For anyone who needs the command. Yeah, praise for good moderation. I didn't know that this decklist review would be so complicated. What's interesting, we have something like... there's like always like 30, more than 30 people for decklist review. A lot of people love decklist review. I'll hold off today since we just had an elementalist. We need a real... There is an elementals master, a guy who is like just playing it brutally day in and day out. Maybe we got to get him back for some elementals action. I never got the whole notification thing. If you go to the subscriptions tab of YouTube, you see every video of your subscribed channels in upload date order. No bell, nothing needed. The problem is, hands down, some people have like 300 subscriptions. So it's hard to keep track of the latest video to all your favorite creators. Some people have like 400 subscriptions. It's crazy. Being a modder is a thankless job. Won't be breaking that trend either. Watching on my phone. Wish my Wi-Fi weren't shite. Then I could submit my deck on the computer. Well, you can still submit it in Discord. I mean, if you're on your phone, you can download Discord and submit it there. That still works. I think the important thing is if there are really effective sideboard cards. Yes, that helps. Well, Elementals needs, I think, needs a better beatdown plan. It's too value oriented. Value is not going to do it these days. It's got some good things going for it. If you put a gun to my head to make a good elementals list, it might start off with like a bunch of Shriekmaws. Shriekmaw looks relatively good right now. I might have 4 Shriekmaws in the 75. Just Shriekmaw the crap out of your creatures. Of course, you can side them out when they're... Oops, I don't... Oh. Of course, you can side this out when it's not good. But this is maybe the direction I would take the deck. The problem with Skelemental is it's good value, but it's not a recurring source of value. So the problem is when you deal damage and it dies, okay, now what? Now what's up? Now what's next? Anyway, I think people are ready. Wake up, bot. Come on. Oh, the bot's not waking up. What happened to the bot? The bot says there was like position was number 23, and now like it goes. Someone was like, you're already in queue. Okay, some people are double submitting, which is fine, but you just don't get 2 positions. Random. All right, here we go. Submitting randomly. Let's go. Next person in the queue. Registered Merce. Vito's Mirror. All right. Congratulations. You're the next contestant on Decklist Review. Another Vito deck. I don't know if this is the same person as before, or this is a someone who was inspired by the last build. This is modern. We got, we have a mana base, 21 lands, Kaya, Orzov, Usurper. Underrated card, Sorin, Imperious Bloodlord. Also underrated card, but I think mostly for vampires. Does this deck have vampires? This is a big vampire. Okay. So we got Devour Flesh. Target player sacrifices a creature, then gains life equal to that creature's toughness. This is a bad card. I played with, what's it called? Smallpox. The best part of Smallpox is getting the opponent to sacrifice a land, but the worst part is getting them to sack a creature, because they just sack the crappiest creature. I am actually not all that thrilled with Devouring Flesh. I think it's a poor card, unless somehow we're going to use this card in some way. Like, oh, are you sacking your own creature and gaining life? Hold on, where's the description? Trying to keep a vampire control deck which utilizes life gain to reflect damage through veto. Secondary win conditions come after beatdown from Chancellor, show and told by Sorin. Devour Flesh used to reflect damage. Goal is to control and disrupt enough to establish either a Sorin or the Chancellor veto, and then start Devour Flesh and reflect the damage after the life gain. I've also been looking at the version of this that uses Blood Chief's Ascension and Archive Trap. I have a feeling this is going to be a little too fancy. So, like, I'm guessing you want to do this on yourself. We have Fatal Push. Kaya's Guile is good. Dismember is good. Kaya's Guile, what is this? Opponent sacks a creature, but you can't target yourself. Devour Flesh is target player, so you can sack yourself. Bloodghast Chancellor. You may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do at the beginning of the first upkeep, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. Flying and lifelink. Kalidas, Veto, Vampire. Is that it? Oh god, what can we do for this deck? I don't know if you're gonna survive the first few turns of the game. I guess you will. You have a lot. You actually have a lot of good disruption. It's your win conditions just so dubious. So you got Veto, Thorn of Dusk Rose. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. But this card I don't think is that good in your deck. Well, the idea with Devour Flesh is if you have Chancellor of the Drowse out, you Devour Flesh yourself. And then when Veto's on the board, you hit your opponent. I guess in response to removal. But it's so fancy. Like, this is a magical Christmas land interaction. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Is good. I think Blood Artist is fine, but it's such a different deck. Blood Artist, and then Zula Port, cut. Oh. It's another creature you control dies, each opponent loses life, you gain a life. I think that's very reasonable. Now the problem is this deck wants to be heavier on interaction. Here's the deal. Like, I think something like Veto requires a lot more life gain than you have. And even if you have the ability, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. You don't even have any creatures. You have 12 creatures in this deck. And it's not, Chancellor of the Drowse is actually going to be super clunky. You so badly depend on this card. I mean, at the very least, you can play... I like the interaction you have between Sorin and Bloodghast. You probably should be playing, what's it called? Silver Smote Ghoul. You just have to have this card in your deck. If at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, return Silver Smoke Ghoul from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So it's just a combo with Sorin. You can constantly sack him to Lightning Helix, and then because you gain the life, it comes back at the end of every turn. Yeah, this Chancellor, I think, is just too fancy. I would definitely go up, and you don't even have a way of discarding it, I don't think. You know what? You have a decent chunk of life gain. You have more life gain than I thought. Make Sorin better. Is this a vampire? You know what I would do? Try to make a more vampire-like deck. Go in the direction of vampires. Just like Orzov vampires. Less interaction. Like, screw off the collective brutality. Take out maybe one Thoughtseize. Take out the Unearths. Take out the Devour Flesh, that's for sure. Add a lot more vampires to this deck. And be focused on gaining life. Like vampires that just gain life. And Bloodghast is fine. Because, like, you just don't have the synergy here. I just think the synergy is just poor. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe these cards and even just Bloodghast by itself does a lot of work. But, like, Veto on the board and then just trying to gain life off of other stuff just seems very weak to me. Yeah, maybe Gifted Aetherborn. I know it's going to change the deck by a lot. If you don't want to change the deck by a lot, exchange Chancellor of the Drows and Kalidas for the Silver Smoke Ghoul. And then change Devour Flesh for just some other removal spell. Maybe Bloodchief's Thirst or something like that. Or more Kaya's Guile, actually. Kaya's Guile is really, really good right now. And you can gain life and it's still within your plan. And Forge Veto is fine. So that might be the close, and then you can replace Unearth because your creatures are basically indestructible. Actually, Kaya's Guile is actually really good with Silver Smoke Ghoul. That's fantastic. And don't forget, you can like sack Silver Smoke Ghoul for some life gain. So maybe we don't have to change this deck a lot. I think this is just too Magical Christmas Land. Like this interaction is just not going to happen, and this Devour Fleshing yourself is a bit silly. Oh, Blood Baron of Viscopa. It's possible. That's a very expensive one. It's probably better in the... it's probably a little too expensive at 5 mana. I know what that is. Maybe Gifted Aetherborn. Gifted Aetherborn is a lot worse than I always thought. I always thought that card would be a bomb, and against a certain decks, maybe it is, but it's actually pretty weak. Because, like, either they'll kill it, or the deck doesn't have removal, but they don't care about killing your creatures. But this Sorin is good. Anyway, that's the feedback I would give to this deck. I would rather it goes more into... Because I know you're more of a control deck, but being a control deck with Veto is a bit weird. But I would just change these to Silver Smoke Ghoul. Has great interaction with Sorin, great value. Also get more Kaya's Vial, great value with Veto. And that'd be it, yeah. Veto and Silver Smoke Ghoul. Silver Smoke Ghoul looks actually very good in this deck. So I hope that's some good feedback over there. Okay, so let's go into another one. We got Boros. Congratulations. We got Gideon Control. Oh my god, how many Gideons are there going to be in this deck? How many Gideons? Guess, people. Oh, you're welcome, James. Sorin can cheat out vampires, but what if you don't have Sorin out? Then you have a really clunky vampire in your hand. That's the problem. So well, I don't have the list. Do I still have the list up? So like, here's my problem. Like, this is a big clunky card. Oh, just put it out in Sorin. Okay, what if you don't have Sorin? Like, you want your cards to generally be good even in a worst case scenario. That's how I look at it. All right, now let's look at Gideon Control by Ouroboros. Gideon. What is up with this mana base? We have Inkmoth, Nexus, Marsh, Flat, Shambling Vents. I hope this is good. Okay, we have a Fatal Push. Vanishing Verse, good card. Kai's Gal, great card. Settle the Wreckage, awkward. Sometimes can be good. Inquisition of Kozilek, Thoughtseize, Collective Brutality. I feel like we just saw this deck. Damnation, Skyclave Apparition. That's a non-bow. That is a non-bow. Skyclave Apparition, great card. Damnation and Skyclave don't work very well together, though. That's why they don't. That's why decks with like Supreme Verdict don't play Spellqueller very much. Oh, trying to cheat out Blood Baron, but still, Blood Baron is very expensive. All right, so we have Gideon of the Trials. Good Planeswalker. Most important thing is it's a 4/4 creature for basically 3 mana. You can prevent damage being dealt by certain permanents, particularly, hey, like prowess creatures. And you can have an emblem as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, you can't lose the game. I don't find that emblem is very good, but the other parts of it is pretty good. Kaya, Gideon, another Gideon, big Gideon. This Gideon is also very good. Make basically it's a creature maker. Gideon's a baby maker, making babies. That's his job. Shit, Gideon died. Those babies don't have a daddy anymore. Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, where's the Gideons? This doesn't feel like Gideon Tribal. It wasn't called Gideon Tribal. Oh, it's called Gideon Control. I expected more Gideons. We have Sorin. You can have an emblem. Creatures you control get +1/+0. I don't think that this card is that strong. Putting up +1. I think actually this is the crappiest Planeswalker of all the Planeswalkers you have. I'd have a second Kaya before I'd have even a single Sorin. Gideon Jura is damn strong. Very, very strong. Oh, we're already moving into the sideboard. Do we have a description? Stay alive and kill with Gideons. I couldn't decide on Path to Exile or on Thin Ice, so decided to Vanishing Verse instead. Inkmoth mainly for an alternate way to kill the Heliod Company deck. I'm also unsure if I want Lingering Souls or Skyclave Apparition. Lets us overwhelm the board with tokens, but Skyclave cleans the board. I'm still testing both. If you don't have a good way of pumping your Inkmoth, I don't think this is even remotely playable. Just don't play with it. Don't worry about the Heliod deck. Unless you think you can really gum up the board, but you only have one Inkmoth Nexus. You're gonna wait 20 turns just to find your one of Inkmoth Nexus. I think you should make your deck seems pretty heavy on mana. Like black, double white, black, white. You need black, white here. Like, so you might want to have just a cleaner mana base. I know you have 25 lands, though. Aren't there any other Gideon? There's another Gideon, isn't there? Gideon Alive, Zendikar, Gideon of the Trials. There's like one more. I think there's one more Gideon. Well, I think Damnation is fine in this deck, especially since you're a Planeswalker deck, but I might not play with Skyclave Apparition. I might not play with Skyclave Apparition. This, actually, Lingering Souls, interesting. This might be a good Lingering Souls deck because you do have Gideon Ally of Zendikar, which has an Anthem. Creatures you control get +1/+1. That's a good Anthem. Do you know what's not bad in this deck? Just Karn the Great Creator. I was just thinking, Karn the Great Creator in every deck. Ponza just like split the Modern Challenge the other day because it added Karn the Great Creator. Oh! Immediate upgrade to Damnation. Destroy all creatures. You gain life equal to the number of creatures you control. Oh, you controlled that were destroyed this way. That sucks. You blow up your own creatures. You gain life equal to the number of creatures you controlled. Well, that's not good. So actually, it's not really an upgrade. You might as well have the non-regeneration part. Well, no, you know what? That's not true. You might have a lot of creatures in play with, like, you might have a lot of tokens in play. So if you take out, because everything is black, you have a pretty good mana base, I think, overall. Vault of the Archangel, really, really good. Is there another one of these, like, random lands you can have in the deck? Godless Shrine is fine. You have 4 Marsh Flats. You might want... Just trying to think. You might want a few more fetch lands, but maybe you're okay. A lot of 3-mana cards here. Trinisphere would be janky. I don't think Trinisphere would be janky, but it's not that... I don't think it would be janky. I don't know if I'd want it in the main deck, though. So we have sideboard, Pithing Needle, Thoughtseize, Damping Sphere, Core Firewalker. Probably should have more. Probably should just be playing with Auriok Champion. Kaya's Guile, another Kaya Timely Reinforcements. You're heavy on this stuff. Oh yeah, actually the filter lands isn't too bad if you get rid of some of the colorless stuff. But just a few filter lands, not too many, because this deck is trying to achieve turn 1 Fatal Push and also turn 1 Inquisition of Kozilek on Thoughtseize. Gideon Blackblade, there we go. As long as it's your turn, Gideon Blackblade is a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructible that's still a planeswalker. So you get to +1 up to one other target creature you control gains your choice of Vigilance, Lifelink, or Indestructible. Exile target non-land permanent. This isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. There is a Horizon land. Don't we have it? Oh, maybe we don't have it. Yeah, it should. Oh no, we have some. We have some Silent Clearing. Yeah, but Auriok's like $1 billion. Well, okay, in that case, we should still have more Firewalkers. If we were going to play anything. I don't think... If you have enough fetch lands, I think On Thin Ice is a fantastic choice in this deck. Oh! Artifact Batterskull. I mean, if you can afford it, this is a very good... This is a very good Stoneforge Mystic deck. If you can afford it. If you can afford Stoneforge Mystic. This is a very good Stoneforge Mystic deck. Because you don't mind... Because you have, like, a bunch of tokens that you can put the equipment on, and I mean, you don't really care about Stoneforge Mystic dying. I would definitely take the deck in that direction if you could go there. Turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic, turn 3 like Gideon of the Trials and your Planeswalkers. Not bad. You know, Batterskull by itself is not very good. So this could also be a good Lingering Souls deck. There's a lot of ways it can go. Okay, I'll just tell you what I feel strongly about. I feel strongly that Sorin shouldn't be in this deck. I feel strongly that this is awkward. I don't know which one's the better card. Honestly, I think Skyclave Apparition is gas. I think it's very, very good. And maybe I'm overrating this. You know, maybe Skyclave Apparition hitting a 3-drop and then Damnationing later is still not that bad. Maybe that's not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm overrating that. It's a non-bow, but hey, it's not that bad of a non-bow. You know what I mean? What's funny is you could totally splash a Heliod engine. It's possible. I don't know what Johnny you're talking about. It could play Fracture, but I mean, that's just a sideboard choice for the most part. This deck is playing one of the new cards, Vanishing Verse. Okay, how many things do you have to do on turn? You have Conceal 4, 6, 10, 12, 13. Oh yeah, you just need 14 sources to get Inquisition or Thoughtseize out on turn 1. I think Lingering Souls is reasonable. I think Lingering Souls is a very weak card in Modern these days, but it might be one of the better cards for even this list that can create like an emblem. Emblem is pretty strong. You know, even 4 mana, like you give all your Lingering Souls +1/+1. That fastens the clock really quickly. I don't think this is a good Smallpox deck because of what's it called? Because you want to get to 4. You want to get to your 3 mana. You want to get to 4 mana. I just don't know what to... The list is sort of tight. Like, I want to put one more Kai's Guile instead of the Sorin. So let's say we play Lingering Souls. It'd be like that instead of Skyclave Apparition. But the rest of it looks okay. Like, the rest of it looks okay. You got, like, a good number of things. Hold on, how many things do you have to do on turn 2? Turn 2. Turn 2. You're low on things to do on turn 2. But maybe you just replace that with things that you do on turn with 1 mana anyway. Because you have a decent chunk of things to do at 1 mana. That's not a bad idea, but we're running out of room to put things. Hey, they can have a vanilla 3/3 in exchange for a Heliod, in my opinion. I guess so. Well, that's all I gotta say. It's a pretty solid looking list. Get rid of the Ink Moth though. That's silly. That has no business in the deck. It's just gonna it's not really gonna color screw you. But I would rather have Mutavault before I have an Ink Moth Nexus. I don't know what's because if your opponent gains infinite life, you're probably still going to lose anyway, because they'll very often when Heliod gains infinite life, they also have a means of gaining infinite power on the battlefield simultaneously. So you're going to get screwed there anyway. Anyway, that's it for deck list review, and that's going to be it for Coffee and MTG this morning. If you want to find the replay, don't forget Nikachu MTG streams, my alternate YouTube channel. Find all the replays and that lovely Merfolk content. If I didn't get to your comments, questions, or deck lists, hey, we do this every weekday, Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. If you want to support the channel and you are not doing that already, you can do so by leaving a sub at twitch.tv. You can also become a patron at patreon.com, or you can join on YouTube. That is slowly becoming a popular choice. But the people who join on YouTube, I don't see the emotes. Do you not know you can use emotes? Or is something I have to enable on my end? I don't know what to do. Chris, where's the emotes? Chris, show people you can use Salute and Chubby Meatball. Maybe he doesn't know. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to use emotes on YouTube, the specialized emotes. I have no idea. I've never joined on somebody else's YouTube channel, so that's all new to me. What else? Okay, so all that has been said, and again, thank you very much for making me a part of your daily routine, because without all of you, this conversation would really suck if I was just talking to myself the entire time. It's a lot more interactive, more fun. We are the most, I think, interactive stream for Magic the Gathering. I mean, it is all about answering your questions and keeping up with today's news. So thank you very much for joining me this morning. Keep brewing up that coffee, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. See you all next time.